Presented by AfterBuzz TV, the starting point of Kathy Kelly, Sonya Deville, and Christy St. Cloud. This is Women's Pro Wrestling Weekly, the first online pro wrestling show for women by women, showcasing news and interviews with top superstars in the industry. And now, AfterBuzz's own gorgeous ladies of wrestle hosting.
Welcome to Women's Pro Wrestling Weekly, episode number 2, where we talk about all things women, all things pro wrestling. So we have a really great show for you guys today. We have Jazzy Gabert, alpha female, on with us. Very, very excited. And we also will be talking about women to watch as well. But to my left, let me introduce my host. So we have the host and the backstage reporter for Women of Wrestling,
Gabby Loren.
And then we also have Anissa Barr. She's the social media manager for X-Pac12360 and the host for Mixed Match Challenge.
Yay, that's me.
Yay! So let's get started. So we want to kind of get into the news on how everything's like breaking down for the week. So we can talk about Rosa Mendez. So she's going to be starting. I didn't think she was going to come back. I thought she was just retired for good.
That's what I thought too.
Yeah, she had her baby and all that stuff, you know, for my Total Divas.
Yeah, and she started that Fit, Mama Fit.
Yeah, I don't know. Is she still doing that?
I believe, she's still doing it. But hey, she's an entrepreneur and she wants to do many things to make money. Why not?
Yeah,
I think you also have to have stuff like that on the side, especially in wrestling, because there are going to be times where you're not working or you still need that extra income.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so she's decided to go back to the ring. So she's going to be doing, she's joining the Maryland Championship Wrestling. So she's going to be doing that. I don't know. I think that's going to be. She wants to go back to WWE and her skills are good, but I don't know what her storyline would be. I don't know if that's going to be a...
I mean, her WWE storyline, how she came about was she was a big Beth Phoenix fan, and you saw her in the crowd every single week holding signs, getting crazy, and Beth Phoenix took her under the wing, and she started from there, but now she's doing it backwards, which is she's now did WWE going to Indies when usually you go to the Indies and do WWE after. This is something that I'm very excited to see for because... I'm going to be honest, Rosa Mendez wasn't that great of a wrestler. Mm-hmm. She did the best she could. They didn't use her as much on TV.
Right.
So now that she's doing indies, this is going to be amazing for her and see what she can do. And now she has a daughter. She has a daughter who's gorgeous, and she could be like, hey, mama can do whatever she want to do.
Like a mama character. But she was really good in the crazy fan role. I think if we could have another one of those, whether it's her or somebody else, to play that or fulfill it.
I think with her role in WWE, they were trying to make her like the next Mickie James. How Mickie James was psycho and crazy with Trish. They wanted to have someone go crazy and psycho over Beth Phoenix.
Right. Well, yeah, it's definitely probably the best kind of avenue for her to go to because now it just seems like the competition's so fierce with the women on the roster now, and then we have the women in NXT. It's just like you can't come not knowing, you know, how to, you know, take a bump. So we'll see how that kind of goes for her.
You know what's so funny? I really feel as though I cannot trust anyone saying that they're going into retirement because we hear it all the time and then everyone comes back. Right. It happened with The Undertaker, Nikki Bella. Now, you know, same with Rosa Mendez. And funny enough, when she did her interview with WWE, she said, I think it would be impossible to give 100% to my daughter and my business, which is one of the reasons she went into retirement. But it's only been a year, so what changed, Rosa?
I think, too, you just kind of, she's young. And you get that itch, and then why not? Like who wants to be an adult working 9 to 5? Sorry to folks who work in 9 to 5. Like I would rather be an athlete for the rest of my life if I could do that.
True. Yeah. And same with what Celeste, who is known as Caitlyn WWE. She left the company, did bodybuilding. She had really a sad situation through a year going through divorce and all that stuff, and now she's getting back in the ring and doing more wrestling. So you can't say never say. You could. The thing is, never say never when it comes to wrestling.
Right. And you kind of keep that avenue open. Like, for instance, I was looking at Trish Stratus stuff and, you know, how she segued to the yoga studio and she does a lot of appearances and stuff like that. Yeah, it's her own business, but she's still, I'm 90% sure, pretty much how she looked on WWE Raw 25, that she works out every day. But she works out probably more than the average person, and she's able to do that because she has her own business. So I think maybe with Rosa, she's kind of figuring out, well, I want to go back, but the smart ones kind of segued into, okay, now I could be an adult,
Yeah.
but still not, working for somebody else. So.
Yeah, something we're all still trying to figure out.
Yeah. For reals.
Work hard, play hard.
Yeah, work hard, play hard.
Speaking of somebody who works hard, plays hard, Ronda Rousey. So we all know she signed her contract, but after she signed her contract, she actually got inducted to the International Sports Hall of Fame during the 2018 Arnold Sports Festival.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, she deserves it.
Yeah.
She's an Olympic. I think is it silver? It was silver or bronze.
I don't know.
It wasn't gold. It was either silver or bronze. Olympic gold medalist in judo. So I mean, she's a hard worker. Obviously, it's kind of one of those things where maybe this kind of time in WWE will erase those last 2 fights for UFC for her, where you're not looking. You don't remember that, because that's kind of the first thing that comes to my mind is like she's a badass, and then those 2 times and she didn't like recover from it. So maybe this stint with WWE will kind of help erase people's mind, like, memories of that ending of her career.
I think it's also very humbling, though, when she went through that she talked about it. I know she went on Ellen DeGeneres after and spoke about how it really affected her. And you have to look at these, athletes. They're normal human beings. And it's really humbling to hear somebody who's going through something and not at the top of their game or being replaced by another, athlete to come out and talk about it. And it really makes it inspiring for everybody else to hear that story. So I think more power to you if you could say I'm not 100% perfect.
Yeah.
But I did well. I was at the top of my game then, and now I'm moving into something else. And so I think this award was at the perfect timing and well-deserved. And it was really nice to see that Kurt Angle was there to support her now that they're teaming up on WWE. And he went to this, Hall of Fame induction with his daughter he considers a little Ronda, which I thought was cute.
All right. And then Kurt Angle is a Olympian, so
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
They kind of all run in those same circles. Well, definitely, that's kind of the next story. So on Raw, there's this whole storyline. We were kind of wondering like how it's going to play out with Ronda now being part of WWE. So it turns out that this was hilarious. Did you guys get to see Stephanie McMahon? And so you guys can watch the Raw show to see my opinion about that. But it turns out that Stephanie McMahon and Triple H, they are going to be going up against Kurt Angle and Ronda Rousey. So that's going to be for WrestleMania 34. So, I mean, I hope. I don't know. I kind of wanted, I understand the reasoning behind it, but I kind of want Stephanie to be more of like, not run away from her. I understand the reason behind it, but it's just like, I own the company. Like, you might be able to slap me up a little bit, but I can fire you. It's kind of one of those things, but
Right.
how are you guys feeling about that? The match for April 8th.
I mean, I like the matchup, but I do want The Rock to show up. I'm kind of disappointed because I feel like there were rumors that it's going to be The Rock and Ronda Rousey. So hopefully he does a little surprise entrance at WrestleMania. I mean, it is WrestleMania 34. I think WWE needs to go big or go home. So I think there may be some.
And he hasn't been on in a while, like, because they first showed up together in San Jose. Was it 2 or 3 years ago? Yeah. So I mean that's kind of what I was hoping for. I mean, Kurt Angle's obviously great, but The Rock is.
He's great, but The Rock is The Rock.
The Rock is the Rock. So I mean, that would be great. But you never know with him, like and how they like to surprise us when we think that they're gonna do this. They're like, no, this is what we had planned all along.
Yeah, and I think it would be a little premature to announce The Rock is in this match with, Ronda Rousey. That would be ridiculous. We need it to be a surprise because it's The Rock and he is a big figure.
Yeah.
Right?
yeah. All right. Well, I mean,
What's your opinion, Denisa?
Yeah, I know. That
She's
face
all
wasn't saying
quiet.
much.
here's the thing. I'm just very upset the way that Ronda gave Stephanie the Simone drop. It looked really bad. It looked like she was about to hurt her neck. And I mean, and Ronda is doing the best she can by entertaining us. She is training. She's giving us a little taste what she can do.
Right.
But I think that move was the wrong move to do because everyone knows Stephanie is not a wrestler. The McMahons are not wrestlers unless you want to count Shane McMahon.
Yeah.
But I feel like they're giving her an easy opponent. I want like they should have done example, when back at WrestleMania when it was Trump versus McMahon and he had Bobby Lashley come in and they had Umaga come in. and they replaced, they just replaced somebody. I don't remember who right now, but they should have had Stephanie bring somebody instead of Stephanie wrestling. They should have somebody else.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? But like at the end of the day, this reminds me of just like back in the 90s, how it's just like Kurt Angle versus Triple H, because they had a love storyline with Stephanie McMahon back in the 90s. If y'all don't remember, you have the network, go watch it. But I'm just very interested on what they're going to do after WrestleMania, because she has the contract. How long is she going to stay? She said she wants to do the hard work. She wants to do this. She wants to do that. Then, I mean, let's see if you could go past WrestleMania. Don't be like Brock Lesnar.
Well, they said it was announced that she's going to be on the show weekly.
Right.
So she's going to be there.
But leading up to WrestleMania.
No, I believe it was after.
After?
Yeah, after. She's going to be on the show like weekly until whenever the stint is over. Okay. So, I mean, I think maybe maybe it's good for her that they did something like that, because they put her with like an Asuka or somebody else at WrestleMania. Like, one, think about, like, she's probably obviously used to crowds, but the WWE universe is not necessarily, forgiving at times. Right? So if we put her in with somebody who's, seasoned
but you could do
in WrestleMania.
But you could do someone like Sonya Deville, who is a fellow AfterBuzz buzzer here, but also she's a wrestler and an MMA fighter.
But she's doing really well. Like, she's been wrestling for...
Right.
Ronda hasn't been wrestling.
But they have similar styles when it comes to...
They do have similar styles, but I don't know if they'll be...
But like...
I don't know if they'll... I don't know. You know, some people carry some other people.
Right.
So I think Sonya, she's been in the game long enough where she's carrying herself on TV now. But then now to carry somebody else, that might be too much on WrestleMania. Like, just think of the nerves walking into that. Like, that's... just, you need a diaper for that.
This sounds like a writer's nightmare right here.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing. Sonya has her MMA background. Yeah, so that's the one comparison they have, her and Ronda. However, she's not as big as a Ronda Rousey. So Ronda Rousey needs to fight with somebody automatically who can live up to her title. And I'm not saying like Stephanie is known for that in wrestling, but because she's a McMahon, she has that authority and that grandeur, behind her name. So they have to put her with somebody, and to start it off with like the authority, I think that's how they have to kind of get her in, but not with a Sonya, because Sonya's just starting to get her feet wet. She isn't a major player. She's not really winning anything right now.
She might, though.
I mean, yeah, I think she will.
Yeah.
I definitely think she will, but she's at the beginning of her journey. So they're not going to place somebody, even though we love her because she's from AfterBuzz.
Like, and I like
Ronda.
Ronda too. I'm not like trying to diss her or Stephanie Man at all. That's not
Sure.
my intentions. No,
I'm
it's
just
not.
kidding.
But like the thing is, it's like, it's just overall, this is my opinion, and you guys can disagree. I think the reason why they bring Ronda here so they could be on WWE could be on more platforms like ESPN and all that fun stuff.
I think it's one factor.
So I mean, I don't know. I'm just hoping that they don't. I'm just afraid that they'll probably give her the Brock Lesnar contract. That's what I'm afraid of.
No, because they already announced that. But definitely with the platforms.
That's what they say on TV, but behind the scenes, who knows?
Well, I guess so. I mean, there's been it's been through a lot of like press releases and stuff like that. They've said that she's going to be there. So I feel like if they say that she's going to be there every week and then she doesn't show up every week after it's been reported that she's going to be there every week. Like, if they didn't report it, then I'm like, okay, because that was my first question.
Yeah.
But they reported that she's going to be there every week, so I'm not sure. Like,
I'm just curious on what she's going to wear. Like,
I mean, that's the least of her.
I know it's the least of problems. No, I know.
But the black leather jacket, the jeans,
I
the
understand.
boots.
But like, it's just like. But that's also your platform too. Is like your in-ring gear, your music, all that stuff. I'm just curious, and I can't wait. Like, I really can't wait.
It might be similar to what she used to wear competing for UFC.
Maybe.
Like to that.
Do you think it's going to be like a 2-minute match?
I don't think so. And here's the thing. This is where I now talking to you now why it makes some more sense is that if we put her with anybody else, WrestleMania, the WWE Universe will crucify her. Right. So this match almost makes sense because at least Kurt and Triple H can carry the match, and then Stephanie and like Ronda could do her moves, and Stephanie, you know what I'm saying? Like it's gonna break down where this is believable to an extent. Whereas if you put them with anybody else, it's like I don't know about then you have people trying to it's just too much on that type of platform. I think Ronda started maybe in September. then that would have been a thing. But
Yeah.
it's so like
Yeah.
we're already in March.
Yeah, and
It's crazy.
Ronda has been training, at that Santina Brothers for months now.
Right. But training and being in there's this term called practice champs where you train and you look great, doing whatever on the basketball court, on the field, whatever. But then when you get into the field of play, it's a whole different beast. And that's where your mental comes in. So you might be prepared physically, but everything else is not gonna work. So I think now it actually makes sense that they don't want to, obviously they're going to draw the attention with CBS and everybody else who's going to pick it up, but they don't want to almost put her out there to drown,
right?
Because then that on the ego alone will kill her. So would kill a normal person. I don't know about Ronda.
Well, she struggled with her own stuff in the MMA. I mean, we've heard it in interviews, so yeah, it could.
So we'll see.
Yeah, and I was actually telling Gabby earlier before we went on air that this segment, Ronda reminds me of the girl from Save the Last Dance and 10 Things I Hate About You.
Do you remember her name, that actress?
Oh, with the big forehead. Julia Stiles?
Yeah.
Julia Stiles.
I was watching, I'm like, the way she got up, got up when Stephanie pushed her in that ponytail and the facial expression. I was
Julia
like,
Stiles.
oh my God, you guys could be twins. But hey, overall, I'm really excited for this match. I'm just very skeptical on what they're gonna do with it because it could go either other way.
Yeah. Well, just so I don't know if you guys didn't watch Raw, I did meet Ronda Rousey last week. Super nice. I definitely get the feeling that she's an introvert. So whatever, it's the same thing with Jazzy.
Yeah.
It's whatever you see and you think that she is. Yeah. It's totally not. Totally not.
Of course.
So I mean,
she doesn't like the Kardashians. So hey.
Moving on. This is not so great news. WWE announcer has been pinned for sexual harassment. So, the whole Me Too movement that's been going on. And he actually just joined the roster. So, Jonathan Coach, he's denying claims that a former ESPN anchor said he was notorious for sexually harassing women at the sports network.
This is a rough one. I definitely love this whole Me Too movement going on, but there's a fine line between the people that are accurate and serious about these allegations and people that you may not be sure are telling the whole truth and nothing but the truth. Mm-hmm. And I think there's an inconsistency here. And I don't want to call out this woman for, her claims because they could very well be true. But in one of the reports I read, it alleged that this, famed ESPN personality, Chris Berman, left a threatening and racially disparaging voicemail on an ESPN anchor and contributor Jameel Hill's work phone. Which he denied. Yeah. And this was a story coming from the woman that is making the lawsuit. Mm-hmm. So I thought that was a major inconsistency and kind of is telling to, are all these truths about Jonathan or accusations about Jonathan Coachman truths?
Well, here's the thing, too. So with Jameel Hill, she's been in a lot of trouble over the last 6 months. She had said some stuff on her social media about President Trump. She was, I believe, suspended for a little bit. I mean, and not to say she's a troublemaker. She was just essentially expressing her opinion.
Right.
So she doesn't seem like the type that would lie. But it's also, she's in almost this peculiar position where it's like she doesn't need another, thing against ESPN or being shown that she's not for the company she works for. So,
but she could have said nothing.
Well, the coworker who did it and put it in the law report or whatever it was shouldn't have mentioned her name at all because Jameel is not the one bringing up the charges. So that was a whole issue in itself. And I definitely agree with you. It's kind of with the thing. The Me Too movement's almost the same thing with affirmative action and racial issues and stuff like that. You have people saying, oh, well, this is because it's this person's race, and it might not be because of that. And now we got to the point where we don't even want to listen to it. So there's a lot of issues happening with there. It's.
And he's been around for so long, this guy. Coachman, he was an announcer in WWE in 1999.
Oh, yeah.
Left in 2008. And then went to ESPN 2008 to 2017 recently, and then returned back to the Raw roster this year. Yeah. So he's been around for years.
And then he's been doing the shows too, the pay-per-view shows. Right. When he's with ESPN, he was doing the pay-per-view shows as well.
Yeah.
Right.
I read, I forgot which news outlet I read, but it stated that right after he got fired from ESPN, he went straight to WWE, right after. like right after. So I don't know if it's true, but also
I don't think WWE would if he got fired for that particular incident, I don't think WWE would have hired him.
Right.
Yeah, and they're investigating the situation now, as we know. But I don't know. It's kind of up in the air. I think until someone can prove that this is actually what happened, nobody should lose their job until we have the facts straight.
And it's so, and like I'm all for the Me Too movement and like the other movements. I can't think today, but
there's a lot of movements.
There's a lot of movements going on, but at the end of the day, it's a he said she said situation. Same thing with going a little off topic with Ryan Seacrest and the comedian. I forgot his name. But they're getting those allegations are happening,
which is crazy too. With that whole Ryan Seacrest thing, there was people on the red carpet that didn't want to talk to him.
Right.
But then those same people were happy that Kobe, got the Oscar. Which I love the fact that Kobe got an Oscar. I don't think people should crucify him because it's something that happened 16 years ago.
Right.
But it's almost like you have to remain consistent. If you're not gonna, mess
Double
with Ryan
standard.
Seacrest, then you shouldn't mess with anybody.
And I think like if this person is lying, I think it's so sickening that they want to do this just because there's a movement going on.
Yeah, because a lot of people today want that attention or to build their brand or audience or to be relevant again. And not to say that this woman is doing that, but if there are women out there doing that or people in other movements just creating attention, it's wrong because you are destroying someone's life. Yeah, you really are.
They're freaking going to go to Gloria Estefan or whatever her name is.
What?
Oh, Gloria. All right. It's like,
sorry, what? Estefan. I'm like, are they going to a concert?
I know. That's what I was thinking. I'm like, wait,
well,
what?
I mean, the reporter, the lady reporter.
All right. There actually is a documentary right now on Netflix.
She's,
amazing.
Really? I need to look that up.
It is so good.
Netflix has so many shows I can't even keep up.
Yeah.
Speaking of people that we can't even keep up with, so Emma, she was released from WWE, but Emma and James Ellsworth was released from WWE. They're actually going to be doing an intergender match for Big Time Wrestling. Which I think it's gonna be really interesting. Like, I mean, Ellsworth or James kind of played a really interesting role on WWE. But have you seen? I haven't seen him like actually seriously fight.
I have.
You have at was it Bar Wrestling?
Bar Wrestling, yeah. So he brought the belt at Bar Wrestling. He faced Joey Ryan, who is one of the most famous independent wrestlers right now, and he brought the belt with him. They were both wrestling. I was just a little confused on why you're putting the title on the line against another guy. We thought it was an intergender thing.
Right.
Overall, James was so fun to watch. He got into the crowd. People were chanting disrespectful things to him, but he was also saying disrespectful things to everyone else. The gimmick was pretty much no chin. So it was such a good time being able to watch him in a different way, and like instead of WWE. So it's kind of it's different, and because you're so used to seeing him on WWE TV.
Right.
But when you see him in Independence, no holds barred. You can do whatever the hell you want.
Right.
So it's different. The belt looked nice. What happened was I was talking to Joey after the show. He was saying like, "Oh, we just did it for fun. We didn't want to put it like we don't want to make bar wrestling as hey, this is going to be titles. Everyone's going to get a title." But also, Emma was there. I'm so used to calling her Emma.
Tennille Dashwood.
She was there. Killed it with Taya. They had a phenomenal match, and I cannot believe WWE did not use her as much because she is so talented. Well, talented than some of the women on the women's roster. Way more talented.
Everyone's in shock by that.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy.
And it's sad because you just wasted somebody who just is gifted at this, and seeing her in a different way was very good.
Have any of you ever met Tennille Dashwood?
Well, I met her at Bar Wrestling.
Well, hopefully
met her?
Well, I just said hi to her.
Hopefully we'll be meeting her. I did send her an email for a request to come on the show.
Oh, good.
So cross fingers.
I almost wonder, though, what she's like in person, because if WWE was willing to let someone like that go, who was at the top of her game and at the peak of her career, maybe there was something else going on. Maybe they're not as easy to work with behind the scenes or things to that matter. So it'd be interesting to find out.
I think the report said it's just more storyline. There was nothing for her, and that's what the same thing they said. I think it was same thing they said for Darren Young too. They just didn't have a storyline.
I don't know about
because
that.
she was amazing at in NXT. She like everyone praised her, but when she was on the main roster, it was like nothing. And from what I also read was when they were trying to bring her back, that whole gimmick thing where it's we're gonna bring Emma, a whole new Emma. I think they were trying to make her like a new Sable or a new something, and she was the one who couldn't do it. And I think she said no, like I'm not doing that.
Well, speaking of people who said no, Paige. She's saying no to all her haters. People are saying that she gained too much weight. She's going on social media and saying pretty much can't make everybody happy, which I agree with. Paige is. I don't know what people are saying. She still looks gorgeous. She's dealing with a lot of stuff. So to kind of kick her when, she's down saying all these negative things, I mean, I don't think is the right move to go.
I mean, first of all, how could you say anything to Paige, or anyone for that matter? These girls are kicking butt in the ring. There's no reason for you to hate on one body type or the other. We see girls like Paige. We see girls like Summer Rae, who are tall and skinny. We see girls like Nia Jax, who are a little bit bigger and curvier. Who cares? As long as they're showing up and showing out.
There we go.
Freaking haters.
Speaking of showing up and showing out, we have some women to watch. Who's the woman to watch this week?
Well, actually, more of women to remember because. Okay.
The grand.
I totally forgot about that. Second show, guys. Give us a break. So this person, we gotta remember for. We're still going? Hey, it's second show. We're having a great time. So this is a woman to remember. She passed away in 2013, in the summer of 2013. She second generation superstar. She started wrestling in the 80s, went into WWE in the 90s. She is Luna Vachon, someone who was strong, powerful. You could put her in the category of course, Chyna and Nicole Bass. She had amazing feuds with Jacqueline, amazing feuds with Sable. She partnered with Goldust. Goldust, for some reason, is always with the blonde. And she was one of them. And this is, I think that the way how talented she is, her voice was very dark and unique and scrappy and scary. And that was something that you didn't have in the 90s. It was overall, as me watching her, I was a little scared of her because I was like, oh my gosh, like this girl is crazy. But watching her wrestle, having the long braided blonde hair, the toughness and the realness that she is, she brought what women's wrestling is today. And she did definitely pave the way, because without strong, powerful women like her, we wouldn't have a Beth Phoenix. We wouldn't have a Nia Jax. We wouldn't even have the alpha female Jazzy like we're going to be interviewing. So rest in peace to Luna Vachon, and she's definitely someone that needs to be in the Hall of Fame.
Well, there you have it. Definitely, like you were saying, without her, we wouldn't have people like Jazzy Gabert, the alpha female. We actually got a chance to interview her. She's in Germany, so she woke up at midnight to talk to us. So we really appreciate that. And in order for her to do that, I just didn't want to be, being at least accommodating to her. So we actually interviewed her first. So that's what we're gonna play next. But definitely, really great interview. I'd like to thank you guys all for joining us. Hope you enjoyed the news, all this good stuff. If you have any suggestions, all that good stuff, go on our social medias. We're gonna be talking about that all at the end, all that good stuff. But enjoy our interview with Jazzy Gabert.
It's amazing.
She is an MMA fighter. She has wrestled for Impact Wrestling, and she was in the Mae Young Classic. Please welcome the one, the only, the alpha female, Jazzy Gabert.
Hey, Jazzy.
Thank you so much for having me. Hi.
Hi, guys. Well, let me just let everybody know I'm so thankful that it's midnight in Germany right now, right?
Absolutely. But I'm a night person, so it's totally fine.
So we really appreciate it, because, I know you're a night person, but, it's still a tall task to ask for. But the first thing is, you did have that neck injury that happened the neck injury operation in January. So how are you feeling right now?
I'm okay. I actually started training today and it went really good. My doctor say I should wait another 2 months, but you can't hold me down. I need to go now in the training but it's going fine. I mean, you still can see the scar and I'm a little bit disappointed in how it looks, but it's all good.
So it's safe to say, because I think in your last blog post you were saying you didn't even know if you want to come back to wrestling. So is it safe to say that you're going to make that approach back? Because you were so close with the WWE and all this other stuff. So are you?
Yeah, it's crazy. Like in one moment, everything can be gone, But yeah, I mean, I'm going to send my MRI and all the, the medical stuff to the WWE doctors. And if they say you good to go, I will give it, of course, another try. But to be honest, I'm not sure if I want to do independent wrestling anymore because, I'm doing it since 17 years. And I kind of want to get somewhere. And I don't know, with independent wrestling, it's very difficult.
Wow. So do you feel like, you're going to be sending this MRI to WWE soon to get that approval or see, where they stand in regards to your neck injury?
Yeah, I'm going to wait maybe another 2 or 3 months just to heal it completely. Because right now, as I said, my doctor say wait a little bit longer. I mean, everything is fine now. Like I don't have any pain anymore, and I had like a little bit tingling in my fingers. That's completely gone, and my full strength is back. So I think everything is all right, but you never know.
Wow, that's actually a surprisingly quick recovery for something so serious. I just went into surgery myself back in November for a septoplasty, which is pretty basic. It's a deviated septum, but I still feel like I'm struggling with that, and they say it's like a year healing process. So to hear that you had 3 herniated discs and you're already like bouncing back in training, I mean, that's just phenomenal. How do you feel, getting back in the ring? Do you feel like you can do everything you were doing before the surgery?
I have no idea, to be honest. I mean, like, as I said today, I did my first kind of, gym training and I was like really out of breath. So my stamina is gone for sure. And I need to build that up again. And, I need to do more stretching again. And, all the basic moves like rolling forward and backward, just not to get dizzy. So I still need to do that, but I'm confident in it. I spoke to other wrestlers who had the similar injury and they told me too that they needed 1 year, but I don't want to wait 1 year. I feel like I don't have 1 year, and I don't rush it. Like I really feel ready, so it's okay.
Well, the fact that you trained for 6 weeks and did a MMA fight, I mean, I think you can do pretty much anything. So I think you'll definitely get back in less than a year. Now, did anybody from WWE contact you when they heard the news? Because you were like on your way to go to the Performance Center and they did the medical stuff. So did you hear from anybody from, any of the wrestlers from Mae Young Classic or any of the like corporate heads? Did they contact you?
So I mean, I have some friends there, and we're in contact, and they're telling me, "Come on, we miss you here. Get your ass over here." So I'm in training, and and I'm in contact with them, and yeah, it's really encouraging. Like even like wrestlers, like I don't know, like X-Pac or even TJ Wilson, Natalie's husband, he wrote me, and I'm like, wow, like so much support, and even like Christian and Edge, they're like still behind me. We texted just today and it's like so freaking awesome that all these people behind me. So I really have to get fit, right? So I don't want to disappoint them.
And in the past, you've actually been known as the alpha female in the independent circuits. You got that name because of Bully Ray. Do you feel like, that alpha female character was inspired by the storyline that, he had for you that you didn't necessarily agree with back then?
Well, the name itself does not came from Bully Ray, but the look came from Bully Ray because, he said I'm not pretty enough. So I kind of, I shaved my hair and I wanted to be ugly. And that's how the alpha female, the look came. But the name itself, it came back then from my boyfriend. He was also a wrestler and he was on the road and I was sitting at home. And he said to the other girls, "Oh, my girlfriend, she's jealous." And they're like, "Why is she jealous? She's the alpha female." And then we're like, wow, that's a pretty fitting name,
Wow, that's great.
Oh, well, you are definitely beautiful as being an alpha female. I do want to know is you've been in this business for so long. When you got the phone call of saying, "Hey, you want to do the Mae Young Classic," how did you get that phone call and what was that feeling at that time?
To be honest, I already thought I will not be in there because they already announced girls, and I thought I'm not in it, and like I was really about to give up because I didn't really like the MMA fighting. Like it's way too difficult for someone who just started new. There's girls that training since they're born, so it's really difficult to go just in there. So I was really tired of fighting, and I was tired not getting to WWE with wrestling, because that's my dream and that was always the goal, like the MMA thing, it just happened. So when they already announced the girls, I'm like, I will not be in it, and it was really sad. And then 3 weeks before, they actually write me an email and they said, hey, we just want to check if you're available. And I'm like, yes, I am. And then they called me up, and everything went so quickly with the visa and the travel arrangements. Everything was so quick, so I was super happy.
Yes, and I also wanted to know how and what inspired you to become an MMA fighter and then transition to a wrestler.
No, I was before a wrestler, and it was because I saw Hulk Hogan, the Macho Man, the Warrior, and I loved the colorful world. Everything was so perfect, and everyone was so strong, and I just want to be a part of it. And the MMA happened because 2015, I was like coming home from Japan. I worked in Japan for like 3-4 years, and that ended, and I was like, what do I do next? I did TNA already, and I did the whole European thing. I did Japan, and I was like, what's next? Like, what can I do? And then someone called me and asked, do you want to fight MMA? And I thought, that's how I can show the world and WWE and everyone who doubt me that I can still learn something, even in my, I'm 35 now, and still in my age I can still learn something, and I still can do something new. So that's why I went into MMA.
Wow. Now, Jazzy, you're from Germany. Do you feel like it was a huge accomplishment for you to be able to work in wrestling in the United States, or even in Japan for that matter?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, in Japan, for example, I'm the only European woman who ever can win a Yoshi championship, like a Japanese female championship. And that's like a huge deal for me, and I guess for the wrestling world too. And also, it's really difficult to work in America. You need a work visa, and that's why I never really got there, and it was always my dream to work for like in America. So definitely it's a big achievement to do that.
So in the Mae Young Classic, you were definitely a standout, because we actually covered it at AfterBuzz Studios. So you were definitely a standout in it, and you got signed to that. Now, you did try out for WWE a few times before the Mae Young Classic, and they didn't necessarily tell you what was the issue, why they didn't kind of sign you. So did you have a conversation with them, obviously before the injury and before like all that stuff, as far as they were saying they loved, like, do you think it was the MMA stuff, or what do you think kind of packaged you together for them to say, okay, this is the time for you?
I think they're just people, and how you can say, like, people who look at you are different than the people who are actually in charge, So I think maybe it was just too hard for me to get past these people, because maybe they don't like me. I don't know. Like, I talked to some people, but they just gave me the answer, the past is the past. So you're here right now, and we move on from here. And I guess that's the best answer I can get. And I try to give my best, and as you hear, Triple H was really impressed with me, and I hope that I can still impress him in future, whatever I do, but that was for me like I knew this is my only chance I have. Like, that was my thing, and I knew I have to give everything, and I did, and it worked out, and I was really happy. And I actually thought the first match I had at the Mae Young Classic versus Abby Lee, I really thought, okay, this is my only match I will have here. So I wanted to enjoy it the most, and I wanted to give as much alpha female as I could give, and I was really surprised that I had the second day another match, and they were so surprised about the reaction from the fans. Like, couldn't believe it. I still can't believe it.
Now, standing back there before you're about to head out to the ring, what was kind of going through your mind?
The first match?
Yeah.
I was super nervous, but I'm always nervous before the match. Like, it doesn't matter. It can be like a small show where it's just 100 people, or it can be 20,000 people. I'm always nervous. And it was the same, but as soon as my music hits, or even like the 5 minutes before, it's like a demon came over me. But I said it already in the interview. It's really weird. Like, it's not me, Jazzy. It's more like the alpha female. And then all thoughts are gone, and I just go out there and I just do my stuff.
That's really great. Do you feel like you identify with who your character is? I know that you were telling us a story earlier of how the name came about and your boyfriend brought it up. Do you feel like you identify with those characteristics when you're in the ring and out of the ring?
Like, I always say that my real life character is nothing at all like the alpha female, but from time to time I had to change into the alpha female. So now, like, as the years goes by, I'm even in my private life more confident, you know, and more stronger and all that positive thing what the alpha female has. But unfortunately also, like, I would not say negative, but like alpha female is not really feminine, you know, like she's a really strong character, and she she's like not feminine, and some people really don't like that, and especially in a dating game. It's together, you know. I'm single right now, so it's really hard to get like a partner or find someone because I'm too much of the alpha female, if that makes any sense. But whenever someone comes up and say, hi, I'm really in love with the alpha female, she's so freaking hot, I'm like, wow, like, no way. Like, I don't personally think that when I'm the wrestling character alpha female that I'm dating material.
Well, that other boyfriend is long gone now, right?
Oh yeah, long gone, 8 years ago.
Now, you did mention, so I kind of almost feel like the alpha female was in your blood, because in previous interviews you talked about how you were adopted and they really wanted a girl, and it sounded like you were more of that tomboy type person. So it feels like this is, you know, who I'm a tomboy too, I'm guessing. Yeah, most of us are. So it kind of feels like, she's like, yeah, whatever. It kind of feels like that's been in your DNA. So do you feel like now you're just comfortable with, you know, just almost taking that personality, like the alpha female, and it's kind of always been with you?
Yes, I mean, I think a little bit I have a split personality because I really love unicorns and pink and, you know, all that cute stuff. I love wearing dresses, you know, but whenever I show up like this on the events, the fans are like, what is this? Like, you're not the alpha female. I'm like, yeah. Or like one day I was invited to a show. It was like a TV show, and they wanted me as the alpha female, like a really bad character. But I turned up as Jazzy, like in a dress and really nice, polite, and with makeup. And then I see that the producer, he's like, something is wrong. And I'm asking him, hey, sir, what's wrong? And he's like, please don't take it personal. I really like you. You're a nice girl, but I expected something different. And I said to him, wait till I put my makeup on and to the camera, then you will see. And then snap, he was so happy for alpha female.
That's so great.
Yeah. There's so many women in the WWE and outside the WWE that are so strong and so powerful. Is there anybody that you want to face in the ring one day? Of course, Ronda Rousey is a big hit, but we have someone like Nia Jax that I think you could go one-on-one with.
Yeah, I really like Nia Jax, but my most favorite wrestler I want to face is, and I want to have great matches with Kairi Sane. I had many great matches in Japan with her, so I know when we can go to WWE, we can deliver and really show the fans real female wrestling, you know. And yeah, I want to wrestle Sasha Banks, and I want to team up with Bayley. You know, there's so many potential, and I'm really excited for the women's division right now. It's like a great job they did, and the girls doing really, really well.
So pretty much, if you go to WWE and they bring you to the main roster, you're going to be on Raw, because all those people are on Raw.
Okay.
Well,
So-
we'll see. They might switch up.
Now, if you, let's say you sent the MRI and WWE is like, wait a few more months, or, they give you another answer that you weren't expecting, is there any other game plan that you would do next if it wasn't, WWE?
Yeah, I really want to do movies. Like, movies is like my next big passion. I did already a few, but just little things, but I really want to go in there. And I think with the whole wrestling thing, I do have some acting experience, and I really want to do it. But of course, I understand I have like this special look, and there must be special movies, like, oh my God, you know what would be awesome if they do like a Rocky in the female version, and I would be like the Dolphin.
That would be really cool.
Yeah, that promo that you did with Gabby Garcia, right? That was next level. And I know MMA is a whole different beast, but you might want to kind of still brush up on that.
She trains like a beast. I mean, to be honest, I must have respect for this woman. I mean, I feel a little bit sorry because something can't be clearly right with her. Like, who would train like insane but don't take serious fights, you know. She's taking this ridiculous fight against grandmas, and I'm really sorry for her because she trains really hard, and I see her every day on my Instagram. But then again, like, I really want to face her, and when I challenged her, I knew that I can beat her. But she improved a lot, and her kicks are crazy. So I don't know, like, I still want this challenge, but I have to train hard to, you know, to have like a fair chance. I don't want to go in the ring and knew that I will lose, you know. Like, if I go in the ring, I will have maybe a 1% chance to win.
Right. And what does your training consist of now to kind of get back into, you know, wrestling ring shape?
Yeah, right now I do, like, in the morning I do jogging, or like fast walking, because I can't, you know, like bounce with this neck at the moment. And I do like, you know, like all the exercises in the gym, but it's not so heavy weights. So I need to slow down. Like, I want to go really heavy, but I know it's not good. So I need to really go slow. And yeah, and I think in about 3 months, I'm going to do boxing again, because that's good for stamina, and that's good for the all over training. Yeah, and then step by step building up my training.
And then when do you think you can take your first bump again? Have they kind of given you that, or it just depends on how you feel?
I guess how I feel. Like, I talked to another wrestler who had exactly the same situation with the neck, and he told me that he could train like bodybuilding after 6 months, and after one more 6 months, like all 12 months, he could go in the ring. But I have already a booking in May, so in 3 months.
You're so funny.
Where's your booking in May?
It's in Germany, and it's against a celebrity girl. So
Ooh.
I know, you know, she cannot bump me. So that would be
Is this a celebrity in Germany or a celebrity we would know?
No, she's a celebrity in Germany, but maybe you guys know her too. She's always getting naked, so maybe she's famous.
You might know her. Sounds
That's
like
funny.
America's DNA.
I love it.
All right, so
And
now,
actually, like, the wrestling fans are really mad. Like, I get lots of messages from wrestling fans that say they're not going to buy tickets, and they're really disappointed. And I totally can understand, because the wrestling involved so much for the females that this is absolutely not, you know, imaginable that a girl like the celebrity girl just go in the ring without any training. And I can understand that people are like disappointed, but on the other side, we have to think this girl, she will bring us some mainstream, you know, like
Attention,
publicity.
yeah.
We really need that.
Right, and then going back to your working out and your routine, when you're really in the ring and you don't have an injury going on, what kind of workout regimen do you have to do to keep up every week, you know, in between touring or having a rough schedule?
Yeah, just right before I stopped doing this, I had to do training 3 times a day. In the morning, I had to go in the training and do like, how you say, like grappling and, you know, like boxing techniques. And then in the midnight, like midday, like 12 or 1 p.m., I had to go running or sprinting. And then in the nighttime, 6 o'clock, we had to do sparring.
Wow.
It was like crazy schedule. And on the weekends, I went to the wrestling shows, and I can remember my trainer, he always yelled at me on Monday because I was so tired. He was like, why are you so tired? But one time I bring him to a wrestling weekend. I say, look, you need to see what I'm doing actually on the weekend. And he's like a UFC MMA fighter. And that's the first time when he watched wrestling, because before he always like, wrestling, that's nothing, especially in Germany. How good can it be, right? And then we brought him to a wrestling show, XW Germany, and he was so impressed. He was like, oh my God. And he were actually like, oh my God, that must hurt so much. And I was like I was laughing so hard. And then he said, okay, I understand why you're Monday so tired.
Yeah, well, that's usually how it happens, and how you convert someone over to being a fan when they know nothing
See it live.
about what's going on in the ring and what you are dealing with. So you mentioned you do 3 workouts a day. So you're not doing 2 a days, you're doing 3 a days, which is incredible.
Badass.
How many hours are you working out each time, you know, on those 3 different times of day?
Yeah, in the morning is like 1.5 hours. The jogging and sprinting is 1 hour, and then the sparring is like 2 hours.
Oh my goodness. So you probably have to eat like crazy in order to keep up with your protein intake, because you're burning so much for those 3
I
workouts.
love to eat, and that was the problem. Now after surgery, I still eat the same amount, but now I gained like big time, and I'm like super not happy. But I said I'm like, how you say in English? I don't know. Like I'm a bulking thing, you know, like the bodybuilder. They
Oh,
call it
bulking, yeah.
So
Bulking
I say
season.
this all the time. But everybody's like, Jazzy, you need to lose some weight. I'm like, oh, shut up.
Now you mentioned that in previous interviews that you kind of wished for a trainer who had experience with WWE or who has been in the WWE. Is there anybody that, you know, if you can wave your magic wand, that you would like to, like, would want them to be your trainer or train you?
Oh yeah, man. I mean, I never met Shawn Michaels, for example, in real life, but now after the Mae Young Classic, I met him like at the Mae Young, and I was so fascinated with him, and just would be like my ultimate dream if he's like my trainer. But I wish that was like 10 or 20 years ago, you know, that he was my trainer, or you know, like someone like Edge. Like Edge was super nice to me, and he totally couldn't understand who I am, you know, and I really wish I had someone like him. But it is what it is, I say, and I still got there, you know. Like I think if you're really stubborn and if you really want it and if you really put everything you have in it, you still can do it no matter the odds, you know.
And now, kind of take us back. So we know you did you had the injury, you had the operation, you're training back to get in the ring. Now take us back to like the beginning. So you were adopted, and you've mentioned on several interviews that kind of wrestling saved your life. So for people who haven't, like, you know, don't know, because I wasn't familiar with you until I saw the Mae Young Classic, and then I'm like, oh my God, you're amazing. So kind of take it for people who didn't get to see you Mae Young Classic, or who don't, you know, they know of you, but they don't know your story. So kind of take us from the beginning.
All right, my story is I was found in front of a church. Then I got like a really stupid name. My real name is not Jazzy. My real name is Marie Christine, like Marie and like Holy Maria and Christ. And then when 6 years old, I got adopted in this family, and they had 3 boys, and they wanted a girl so badly. But you know, because of the life in the foster home and the new boys who really hated me, because you know the parents really they don't wanted them, so they treated them really bad. So now I came in, and the first 2 years they spoiled the hell out of me. They gave me everything I wanted, but the brothers hated me, so I had to fight with the boys all the time. And then, you know, all the time fighting, you know, people were screaming. And then I found wrestling. Was 10 years old. And then they had another girl. When I was 10, they had another girl, and they loved her completely, and she was everything they wanted. So I found wrestling because that was like a perfect world. And when I was 13, the parents got divorced, and I had to go with my mother and my little sister to Berlin, back where I was born. And yeah, and then I found a wrestling school, and yeah, and then I trained like crazy. My mother really didn't like that. She said I have to choose wrestling or her, and of course I choose wrestling, so she kicked me out. But yeah,
what does she say now that you're, you know, doing so many things?
We're not in contact anymore. Like I would forgive her, like if she would come here to me and say, hey, I'm sorry, I messed up, I would totally forgive her. But unfortunately, I think she's sick. Like sometimes I talk with my brother, because now me and my brother, one of them, we get really good along. And you know, a funny story is, like as I said, my mother, she always wanted girls, right? And one of my brother, who doesn't speak to his mother now, because of course they treated him so bad too, he has 7 girls now.
Oh, wow.
7
Wow.
daughters. Imagine.
That's nice.
So now, so you chose wrestling over your mother, and then you you started wrestling. You went to the wrestling school, and then what happened?
Yeah, well, with the wrestling school, it was not easy also. Like we speak about 17 years ago, like there was not the time of the internet like so big as it is now. Like there was no Facebook, there was no Twitter. And I was like one of 3 girls. And it was really hard, you know, like they beat the hell out of me. And I remember the first 6 months, they didn't told me about kayfabe. And I really had no clue about kayfabe. I always thought wrestling is real. I don't know. And yeah, but I go home crying, but I come back next day and train. But then after, I think 5 years, I met my boyfriend back in the days, and you know, he showed me how real life is, how real training is, and that training don't have to be so hard. And then from there on, the Alpha Female was born, and yeah, I toured around the world and I became successful.
Wow. Do you think your background and where you came from and the experiences you had as a child made you this strong alpha female today?
you know what? I'm watching a lot of Tony Robbins, and he's like my
Yes.
guru. I really love him, and I learn a lot from him. And this is like my thing, like my hobby. Basically, I try to, self heal me. And when I was younger, I of course had a lot of issues. Like if you get rejected from your real parents, then you get rejected from your fake parents. I don't know how you say. And you always get rejected, and then also in the wrestling school, first they didn't wanted me, so you get again rejected, and then you go to the WWE tryout and you get rejected. Like, it really messed with my head. But then I went to Japan in 2012, and I found totally peace. Like, I started meditating, and I started to do self-healing things, and yeah, I'm okay now. And but I know for sure that the whole story made me strong, gave me like a strong character. And I think if I had loving parents, if I had like everything perfect, I would not be the person who I am today.
That is the truth. And now, how do you handle rejection today?
I say, well, it's their fault because I know I'm awesome.
Do you actually? It's almost persistence too, because there was a story I think I think it was the boxing, not the wrestling club in Germany. They first told you no, and didn't you go to the trainer's house that day or that night consistently for a few weeks?
Yeah, I did, and I begged them, and then finally they said yes, but just to take my money, and as I said, they beat me up like all the time. And I remember I had to be like a dummy for them. And one time I had like a really messed up face because a boy, he, by mistake, he jumped in my face, and it was horrible. But again, it taught me, how to not do wrestling. I guess I always say that. But now, like the team, we're okay. I wrestled for them again, and we're okay. I mean, we were young. I was like 18, 19 years old, and my parents never showed me anything about life. They never talked to me. And in school I was always sleeping because I watched wrestling at nighttime. So I was really, I would say retarded. so
you really are a night owl.
Yeah, that's for sure. I wouldn't use the word retarded. I would say that you were persistent. You knew what you wanted, and you were consistent about it. Because if you were that word, then you wouldn't be where you are right now. And you would have had the operation, and you would have just kept on eating. I don't know, what's your favorite food?
Oh my God, you got me by surprise. I thought my favorite. I want to say pancakes, but I'm not allowed to, I guess. So steak. I love steak.
So you would have kept on eating steak and pancakes, and you would have gave up. So this is definitely shown of a true alpha female. You're persistent on everything that you do. So I mean, kudos to that.
My story makes kind of sense, and I really need to go to WWE. I think so, because I want to have my story perfectly make sense. I want to go after my wrestling career and after my big movie career. I want to be like go to schools and talk, and I want to speak to young kids who think that they are treated unfair because life is not fair, and sometimes parents cannot be the perfect parents, and I want to say to these kids that doesn't matter, like if you have a good education, if you have the perfect parents or not, it's still up to you what you do out of it. There's so much more stuff in my closet, and I write a book actually, and you will read it. But I think whatever happens to you, you still have a choice to get out of there. And of course, I cannot say I will make it or not, like it's not in my hand, but I will not give up, and I hope I can get it. And I really hope that I can inspire some people to try too.
Well, I could tell you've inspired all of us here on our panel at AfterBuzz, and you should not give up because you are an amazing person and super talented. No matter those days where you're feeling down or you deal with rejection, because you're the true example of someone who keeps fighting and is a warrior. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
And then for sure too. What do you say?
I just want to say that your chocolate is very good. I have a family member who's from Germany, and she would bring chocolate here in America, and it's like delicious. But you talk about how you want Shawn Michaels or Edge to train you one day, and I believe that one day will happen for you. When you're done with your wrestling career, do you think that you would want to open up a wrestling school in Germany for women?
No, I don't know. Training is just not my thing. I mean, I get asked many times to do training seminars. I don't know. It's just not in my blood. I don't know. I can't do it. Like, I feel personally that I do also many mistakes myself, and I'm not like super technical, and there's still a lot to learn from me. And I don't know. I don't want to teach something wrong, and I don't know. I don't have the eye for specific thing. I think there are a lot more better people out there who can train young people.
Now, for sure, I mean, we definitely hope that you're going to make it back into the ring, especially for WWE. But we also, I think I see a career for you as a superhero, like just an action hero, because you're just badass. So you already can kick people. I mean, you already can beat them up in real life. So I mean, just kind of definitely, I hope that for you too, because we definitely want to see you on that big screen. Other than that, do you guys have any more questions? Or are you guys good?
No, just the fact that I think you're amazing and you're super humble. Something we would have never expected, probably looking at you in the ring. You seem so strong and fierce, but you're such a nice person. So thank you for making the time to talk to us today.
Yeah, thank you again, and also thank you for telling us your story, as well as being one of the women to empower women wrestling and making it what it is today.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. Your nice words.
And now, where can everybody find you? Just in case they're not following you, you guys should.
You guys can find me on Facebook, Jazzy Gabert, or on Instagram, German Wrestling, and on Twitter, Alpha Female 1. I also do like a little comic figure, like it's a comic for alpha females. So the little comic is reliving the things what I did in real life. So that's also on Twitter and Instagram for Jazzy Gabert. So if you want to follow that, it would be nice.
Nice. And are you updating your YouTube page with your journey kind of back to the ring?
I should, right?
You should. Yes. You should. That would be an amazing story just for everybody to watch.
I will be next week in Florida, in West Palm Beach, doing some, just holidays, relax, and I will put out the camera.
Oh,
for
nice.
sure.
Right.
Yes.
Well, if you ever come to LA, please let us know. We'll love to have you in studio.
But I wish. I'm on my way.
Cross fingers. But thank you so much for coming on the show. Like I said, I know you are a night owl, but I definitely, want you to know that we definitely appreciate you for, doing this, because midnight is still.
And it's probably later than that now.
Yeah, I know. And you look beautiful at midnight, because I sure don't look that cute at midnight. So we really, really appreciate you.
Thank you to the listeners, to all the fans, and thank you so much for following this. And you guys, thank you so much for doing this, because without you, we would not exist, I think.
Thank you, Jazzy.
Yeah.
So thank you for hopping on with us. That was an amazing interview.
Yes, I love her already. Like, next time she's in LA, she has to call us up.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, follow on everything. I'm gonna be stalking her page for sure. But that is it for our show. We definitely appreciate you guys for tuning in. Episode 2. We have a few more guests booked. Oh my gosh, some really exciting guests. I'm really excited about some of these people, or all these people in general. But where can everybody find you, ladies?
Oh, yeah, you could follow me on social media at Anissa Bar with 3 R's at the end. The Mixed Match Challenge, I am the lead host for that, so tune on in. It's not this week, but next week we're going to be doing the Mixed Match Challenge. I am the social media correspondent for XPAC12360. Follow me, and you'll follow everything else I do in life.
And you guys could follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Gabby Loren TV, which is GABBYLOREN TV. And you can also check out the link to my YouTube channel through my Instagram. It's linked to the bio. So hope to see you guys on there.
And if you haven't already, please follow us on AfterBuzz TV on all social medias. Definitely AfterBuzz TV, wrestling and sports. If you haven't, I mean, you're watching this, so I think you have. But click subscribe for sure. iTunes 5 stars or better. And also on our Instagram page and our social media for Women's Pro Wrestling at WPW Weekly. We just started, so we're gonna have a lot of stuff coming, for you.
Yep, I'm doing all that.
Just in case you guys didn't know, or you didn't know, I'm like, you are our social media correspondent.
Yes, I am the social media correspondent for
everything. So really appreciate it. Other than that, you guys can find me on everything at TK Trinidad. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Ciao.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the host only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.